I can't share his info.
And we are rolling.
Welcome back, everyone. The Vitality Check podcast once again with my partners in crime, Dr. Sean Landry.
Play one on TV.
Yeah. And then J-Bone Turnbull.
And
You guys should sit closer together.
Well, it's...
Maybe it's because my black shirt, you can't see me. I blend into the background, but
You could move into the screen.
I could. Just
So, how's everyone doing?
great.
Amazing.
So good.
God, you're just full of life today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Really restful weekend.
Yeah.
Very good.
were you up north?
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
Did you buy a boat?
We looked again.
You looked?
Yeah. It was awesome. We had a lot of fun. Yeah. So
Did you try it
I'm
out?
hoping it's imminent.
Did you get to try it out?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Swam in the lake again, which that's back-to-back weekends of swimming in the lake, which I haven't done for I can't remember when. So that was awesome. The lake was really warm. Thankfully, it was not like some of the oceans that are contaminated recently. But,
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
You don't know that, though. Could be,
It very well could be. Yeah.
right?
I definitely got a little nervous cutting across between two lakes because he's like, yeah, you don't really want to be like, I'm like, how much draft do I have? He goes, yeah, you don't want to be under 6 feet, but we got more room than that. I was like at 3.9. That was a bit
Shallow.
hairy.
How low it is?
Like,
between
that was
the
the
two
depth
lakes?
finder. Like,
How low can
how
you go,
much?
though?
How much? Well, he said don't go under 6. I was at 3.9, 3.7.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other people out, and I mean,
And you just stick, but there's buoys that guide you
yeah,
through.
you kind of go through.
So you're a follower. You basically
Very
do
much
what they
followed
did.
that, right? For that, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's kind of weird because you come in one way to go. It's essentially you're going underneath a street, like a road,
Mm.
but you can't really see people coming the other way. So like, it wasn't us, but people after us. You see, they had to back up to let the
Gotcha.
other one through, and it's pretty shallow water. So
Yeah.
let me just say, I'm glad that was not
Hmm.
my circumstance because
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have been a little bit, freaked out,
Shaky.
a little shaky for
Shaky.
sure, for sure.
I heard, Kev, you started a new sport this weekend as well.
I did. I
Mm.
went mountain biking. That was very fun, exhilarating.
Yes.
Also,
Painful, right?
yes. Thank God for those padded shorts. Let me tell you. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to keep
You were walking.
keep
a
some
little-
ice on there.
You were
Probably.
walking a little crooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jane, I thought it was your hip, but no.
No, not the hip. No, hip felt great.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, it was very fun. I will stick to the kiddie runs though.
Yeah. No need to be a hero.
No, why? Why for what? Break an arm?
No.
I'm good.
Yeah. And they're plenty of fun.
Oh, even on those ones.
And it's a
there
good workout.
There was some
Yeah.
solid tree roots and rocks going on there.
And it's
Yeah.
a lot of
Everyone's best friend.
Yeah. Not on a
You're-
bike.
I did fall. I didn't tell you that, did I?
No.
Oh yeah. Well,
Just like a technical.
so the friend we went with.
Not like going too fast. It was just more technical.
No, exactly. Well, I was avoiding a rock,
Yeah.
and my hand hit a tiny tree.
Tree. Yeah.
And it's like I just toppled over.
Because it's funny, a lot of the new bikes, they have wide
They're wide.
handlebars.
Yeah, they're very
I
wide.
know.
Yeah. But the more experienced guy fell.
Yeah.
But that was looking back at us, trying to see if we were okay.
Making sure that you're still alive.
Then he bailed and
Oh no.
dove into the to some leaves.
You
So,
wore a helmet.
thankfully, he's fine.
You wore a helmet, right?
No, I don't wear it. No, it's for babies. No. Yeah, I wore a helmet. 2 of them, actually.
You had all your hockey equipment on.
I would think
too.
that's mandatory.
I had one of those neck braces on, too.
all your hockey equipment. Too.
Getting a collar.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like a spine protector.
It's good.
Shin pads.
They match the bike shorts well.
Hello, you, Sean. Did you do anything? Just tied your kids up?
Yeah. No, I cleaned my garage this weekend.
Nice.
So,
That
yeah,
sounds amazing.
It was yeah.
Anyways, so to today.
Yeah. Lots of nothing exciting.
No, but probably very.
Although I did on Friday
I
night.
wasn't finished.
actually. This
I
is
wasn't
actually
finished.
This is actually quite fun. I'll get your opinion on this and our audience as well. And
No, I
if
don't
you're
wanna-
listening to the person hosting us, thank you very much for hosting. But I have a little pet peeve. So we were hosted on Friday night to a soirée de sushi. So they had a chef come in, and it was awesome. But the Mademoiselle hosting us, she's vegetarian. Actually, she's vegan, and so the entire night.
Is that a lot of cucumbers?
Yes, like, and all of us were like,
Different dipping sauces?
I'm pretty sure you could have made like an exception and had like some fish in the sushi.
Yeah. And you don't eat it?
Yeah, or I mean, I'm pretty. There would be a couple, but the whole thing was completely. And
Should we call her out?
I think we should.
We should live call.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's give her a call. So
she's on line 1 right now, Sean.
perfect. Anyways, it was definitely at the end of the night. I was like, it was missing something, but gesture was nice.
Protein.
Protein. I'm starving.
How weak was everyone after?
Yeah.
So how many chips do you eat when you went up there?
Exactly. Not just that. I mean, to have a sushi chef, it was quite expensive, right?
He's like,
so
you're sure?
Actually,
like,
Kelly,
no fish.
Did you say more cucumber?
Actually, the funniest part of the night is Kelly. We didn't know. We assumed it was a bit of everything, and so Kelly went in because we were across having a cocktail in the park like beforehand, and Kelly went in to make another. Yeah, we were
brown bag
playing pétanque and anyway, so Kelly didn't know. She went up. She says the sushi chef was actually super stressed. She's like, I've never done a completely vegetarian sushi before. And Kelly's like, oh, you said completely vegetarian? And she's like, yeah. So even the sushi, everything was
nice,
was mocked. And then
shit, it's just a
Yeah.
little turd of rice.
It's just the right.
Anyways,
on that note, speaking of turds,
the evening was amazing. Oh yeah, speaking
right?
Speaking of
Oh,
turds,
you like that
good
segue?
Good
Whoa! We are going to be discussing the digestive system today.
Yes, yes.
Oh, pros and cons. Should you have one? Yes. But no, in all seriousness, we wanted to talk a little bit of. We see this a ton in clinic. People coming in with back pain or different types of ailments, even shoulder stuff sometimes, and there being a strong involvement from the digestive system, the state of the digestive system. Tensions coming from there that could potentially have an impact, especially on back pain. It's amazing how much back pain is related to someone's the state of their digestive. So whether or not people have just tension there because of blood flow issues, people have tensions there because of intolerances and the way their lifestyle and the way they eat or the lack of mobility. So we're going to go through a few maybe common things that people come in with. And quite often what happens is the person will come in and tell us they have back pain or hip pain or something of that nature. And then we end up figuring out that there's a link to their digestive system. So that's it. I was trying to remember, I think from school they said there's one valve between the intestine and the colon, the ileocecal valve.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, maybe it was an AK. They were saying like 80% of back pain comes from ileocecal valve spasm.
Exactly, spasm or distension, or
right. Yeah, which is one we
could be
find
hypo or hyper, right? It could be
Sure.
either spastic and unresponsive, or it could be lagging, slow, sluggish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it creates much like all of the principles, but either it creates either stagnation.
Yeah.
And or hyperactivity of the digestive system. So
either you're really blocked up or you have an urgency to go all the time.
There you go.
Right.
And they were saying even in some in traditional Chinese medicine that's like that IC valve is literally a regulator of tone of the body, right?
Right.
You can get a pretty good grasp for how the person is living just based on feeling the ileocecal valve. Yeah.
Well, it makes a lot of sense too, right? Because 90% of absorption takes place in the small intestine. So if it doesn't pass through fast enough, and it stays there, versus if it goes through too quickly,
exactly,
that means proper absorption. I explain this to people all the time, that if it gets to your system and someone gets like diarrhea, let's say, it's usually because it's not digested properly in the small intestine. Certain things, large intestine, dissolves mostly water and a few vitamins and minerals. So if it gets undigested carbs or protein or whatever, your large intestine doesn't know what to do with that. So you get diarrhea. Versus things that sit longer, let's say they get through, but then it's passing through slowly and it gets to your large intestine. And we'll talk maybe more about some structural stuff, but you get some like adhesions in certain fascial chains, the told fascia or whatever, then those postural contractions of the large walls of the colon are slower, and it sits there longer and longer and longer,
Putrefies.
and absorbs more and more water, and then they get constipated, right? It's left over. So yeah.
So let's do that. We'll go through a little bit of the what people come in with, what they often don't write down in their intake form. So a lot of people don't think certain things are a digestive issue, like bloating. So bloating's probably one of the biggest ones that I find people are, you ask them if they have digestive issues and they'll say no. And then you say, well, do you ever get bloating? Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just
the disconnection actually is funny from like you say, gut health to general health.
Exactly.
I think that's probably just, a lot of people are seeking more physical when they do walk in the door, right? I know Jay's practices has evolved over time, right? And because of his specialty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of
the poop whisperer.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Because of his thesis. But yeah, it is it's funny when you first listen to what people are seeking, right? Can be low back pain, can be hip pain, can be actually some form of pain. But then as we explained, even in last week's episode with, how the symphony orchestra of life and how it's all connected, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so it goes through so many different things. So when we look at it from, let's say, the esophagus, the first bite of swallowing some food into the stomach, then into the tube coming out of the stomach, the duodenum and duodenum is like there are valves there emptying the stomach, valves there for the gallbladder, then going into the small intestine to be absorbed, to then go through that valve we just talked about, the ileocecal, which brings it into the large colon, which then is to be evacuated.
Eliminated.
But so anywhere along those lines, there's 5 major valves through there. Any of those can affect one transit time, to the effectiveness of being in that particular stage of the digestion as well. So that's why a lot of these things are so important, because people, well, how would that affect my back? Well, there are physical attachments of all these structures onto your back, very specific ones. Then, like Sean would talk about as well, there's the interrelationship between the organ and the neurology in the spine.
Yep.
So that's why sometimes too, people with certain specific issues in the digestive system will have certain tensions in the vertebral column, the spinal column, related to the neurology to that section of the body.
Yeah, like a visceral somato or a somato-visceral response, right? So
either you have an organ issue that's affecting the spine, that's what Sean's talking about, or the spine is affected.
Yeah, the motion
like
of the
falling
spine.
and something getting displaced, and then that starts the
postural adhesions that, it could be tension over time, right? It doesn't passive tension over time.
Exactly.
Right? It doesn't necessarily
which is
have
probably
to be
most people is chronic kind of like postural things to, the way their lifestyle, like what they're eating, how much activity they have, and then obviously mindset, because just their
second brain.
They're in, especially the second brain of the gut. So in terms of those types of symptoms and either anxieties or things like that can have a major impact on that. And then there's a lot of descriptions too of the digestive system is
the
just
ecosystem of the gut as well, right? The microbiome and the fungiome and the parasitome, all the inhabitants that we share,
right?
That you share the world with. You don't even know you're sharing the world with, right?
Absolutely.
And how they work literally symbiotically and with you, or they can work, unfortunately, depending on a dysbiosis, can work negatively against you, right? Depending on how the state the state of your system evolves over time, right?
And then even the outlook a person has and what they're experiencing, often has an impact on a lot of these structures. That we've often seen the digestive system as such a big representation of our ability to digest life. So people really having an issue, keep in mind this has to be something that's really big for a person, like an event that has actually really affected them, not so much of the small things, even though, like Sean said, they can accumulate over time. but usually a bigger event or trauma event will actually have an impact on, let's say, something we have a hard time digesting. Something happens to us that we're really mad about, that or we can't accept. That quite often leads to the stomach. You have people that have like heartburn to indigestion to bloating.
Ulcers,
Yeah.
bloating. Right.
So these are things to keep in mind too when
Or in a fight or flight
situation,
right? Where it's like literally it's ingrained in us to evacuate and
Yes.
leave, right? Get the
100%.
so that's can be a traumatic or stressful event as well, right? So
Or the constipation bit where you're just holding on and you don't want to let it go.
Yeah.
So like there can be a lot of
or you're
mixed bag of things.
you're lying to yourself and you're just full of shit, right?
Maybe.
Could be that too.
Yeah.
Maybe can we say shit on here?
So
I think
Yeah,
we
it's
just
kind
did.
of the topic.
Yeah,
We'll put it in the title.
all thing goes. Yeah. Are you full of beep blank?
Yeah. Beep. Nice.
But those would be, again, when you look at or you listen to the words that you're using with respect to life, and like you'd mentioned, are you full of something, or are you holding on to something? Are you having trouble digesting something?
Yeah.
Is it really kind of, you're working over.
What and a lot of the examples of, so what would be an example then of someone coming in that has that type of problem of the digestibility of something? Because usually that's stomach.
Gallbladder, stomach,
So yeah, the gallbladder would be more like the frustration around it, which usually they go hand in hand. So you'll have like a double
indecision, or
Yes.
the inability to like
move forward
through,
with
make a decision, right?
So usually you'll see people coming in with shoulder pain with those types of. So they'll either have, because then there's some fun interrelationships between organ and muscle as well, right? So you'll get bicep weakness, things like that. So then people will come in with discomfort, usually in the shoulder, which, depending on the side, can be either more stomach, spleen related, and or gallbladder, liver on the opposite side. So there's some. I remember once just to give an example of the relationship between anything around the diaphragm, organ-wise, and the shoulders. Someone that had been seeing a physio post gallbladder surgery. So then, as he comes in and shows me like his scar, and he's saying, I've been doing it for months now, and my shoulder still feels the same, hurts in every single direction. So that's normally a sign of a referred pain. And so anyways, we put my fingers right on he had a really long scar though.
an older scar then, not laparoscopic.
No, it was new. It was just because it was so
so
infected
bad. Okay.
that they had to cut him open and really go get
Drain,
it.
yeah.
So put the fingers on the scar just to test out how its mobility and stuff like that, and it shot the pain up in his shoulder like it was.
Wow.
So he's like, oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. So anyways, work on the scar, shoulder pain goes away with just a couple sessions. So sometimes it can be like really focused on an organ, So hence the reason sometimes it's important to go get evaluated, because quite often, it's not always just a mechanical problem.
No.
As we've learned over the years of looking at so many different things like that from outside the box like that.
But that's why our intake is so important. We kind of skipped over that a bit at the start. Is just, as we're asking all those questions and we ask about, their previous medical history and any history of whatever, respiratory issues to digestive issues to urogenital issues, whatever it may be. And oftentimes they'll come back and they say, well, what do you mean by digestive stuff, right? And I'm like, well, I don't mean that you have to have stomach cancer. It's like the bloating and all that kind of stuff they talk about. And then and we can see it in their body, right? Oftentimes when we go and someone has a vertical axis, if we're doing different testing on the sacrum, and we know that there's more of a visceral or connective tissue involvement in it. It's nice to ask those questions and then to see them kind of link that together. Like, I always think the biggest breakthroughs you can make with people are, I've had so many digestive patients over the years that have finally realized that, yes, they're able to not have as many flare-ups by getting treated, but they still may have the occasional one, but they'll identify it quicker. Like a lot of them will say, I now know that when my digestion starts to change a little bit, I've got to be really careful double down on my exercises, and they can get through it because they're, as soon as they start to see that change, and they really then see that link, right, of how their body responds to it. And it could be stress and all that stuff you said, right? That something's bigger that comes out and
they're
it goes
assessing their check engine lights, right?
Yes.
They're getting to know their body and listening.
And being aware.
Being aware of these interrelations that we're explaining, right?
Yeah.
These signs.
That Burrow, J.P. Burrow was his book, Understanding the Hidden Messages of Your Body.
Yeah.
I was lending that book out a bunch, but I kept never getting it back. So I just recommend it now. I keep it in my office.
I have many books out there like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I like what you're saying, because this should be for every topic. Obviously, like the advantage to someone building the awareness of listening to their body more often can save you so much grief, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because then you start getting really used to like the signs that are there way ahead of time for you to kind of save yourself from getting into a bad place, right?
Yeah. It's
So
funny. I guess those check engine lights, right? So it's funny because then people are always like, well, what do I do? How do I move? How do I tap into the body? So I think exactly what you said. So just taking time. Last week, our topic was, being able to sit with yourself in reflection and just actually take stock at where you're at. So just taking time throughout the day to either meditate and or journal, right? I know a lot of people, when they're trying to figure out what their, maybe food intolerances are, well, they can actually do a 24-hour or a 7-day food journal and actually try and get an understanding of how you feel. Are there any, symptoms that arise after you eat a certain food, or are you sluggish? Are you tired? Do you have any upset stomach, any reflux, any bloating, any gas, any, like you say, any flatulence, any, you can really get a good understanding, of how you break down certain food groups, processed food versus, good natural food.
Most people know, eh? Like we tell them certain things sometimes, or when we do the AK testing, they'll often say,
have an idea.
I knew it was going to be that. So
they
already know. So like, I think that's the main thing is you don't have to go out and really, become a monk to figure out how to feel what's happening in your body. We're so used to being so distracted. Like, if you just take the time to actually pay attention, be like, oh, that's true. Every time I get a pain in my back, it's usually when I've been sitting for longer periods and I'm eating badly and I'm doing all these things. So then, you start to notice a pattern of, when I move more and I do all these other things, I feel way better. And so then it's easier to make better decisions and know when those signs come on, like, I've gotten off track a little bit.
I've had patients, throughout the years just actually say, oh, my back feels so much better after a bowel movement, right? It's like,
right.
like literally just after going to the bathroom, just to feel the relationship of either, distension in the large intestine and the actual, as we talked about, the visceral somatic response, right? So the mechanical structure of the low back and the nerve roots and or blood flow that influence those organ systems, right? So a lot of people say, well, I feel so much better after a bowel movement, right? Sometimes they'll openly share that information. Sometimes they won't. We have to help them kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, but that's showing them the diagrams and showing them the anatomy, and like it depends on who you're seeing. They want to see show me the mechanics, or how does that work exactly, and are you sure that my digestion can play a role in sciatica, right? But you're okay, well, here's your sigmoid mesocolon, and here it attaches on the diagram to your disc at L405. This is the distribution of L405, wow, that's very valuable and really helps people overcome certain things and then also make those changes, right? Because they realize, I'm going to have this. I feel terrible. But if you can show them and you can put your finger on it, it helps a lot, right? It helps for buy-in for sure.
Yep.
You get a lot of information. Also, this is probably out of our scope of practice, but even just the consistency of your bowel movements, the color of your bowel movements, literally, what that will tell you a ton about what type of
environment
you have in there, and are there any specific adhesions and or dysbiosis in certain areas of, versus the, like you say, the stomach, right? Undigested food, right? Are you chewing your food first of all, right? Or are you swallowing it whole?
Eating on the run and walking around and eating.
Exactly.
There's many ways.
So many
It's
things.
that, like you were alluding to before too, is the state of the nervous system as well. Like
Yes.
if they're constantly in fight or flight.
Yeah.
So
What does that do? Right.
So in a stress response, well, then you're in the complete opposite section you need to be in to actually digest well,
Rest,
sleep well, repair, and
rest and digest.
Rest and digest.
So simple breathing.
Utilize right the nutrients that you're actually consuming. Right.
So simple breathing technique can actually bring you back into a more of a normal state in the nervous system of just nose breathing. So the nose breathing techniques of just slowing your breath down and just breathing in and out through your nose can have a tremendous effect on helping oxygenate the body better and being more efficient with that.
Plus, it helps your pressure and fluid dynamics and mechanics of your, thoracic cage to abdominal to pelvic cavity. So you're regulating all those pressure systems, which assists in digestion as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It goes on forever. It's how much people want to learn and are interested in it, and it's there's some
chewing. So
down.
One of the things chewing is a big thing. I remember I did a course, TMJ course, but there's also the digestive system. They were just talking about that. Chew. I forget that it was like an odd number. The guys say chew 32 times. And we're like, why 32 times? They go, oh, it's just enough. It's awkward and enough so that people actually just understand how important chewing is, right? From the release of, all your enzymes, right? Amylase, peptide, all the enzymes that, a functional medicine practitioner will have you take. Well, you can actually stimulate them if you just take the time, sit, breathe, smell your food, right? Obviously the quality of your food is really important as well. Like that's the next level, but just the mere act of sitting, breathing, and chewing your food, you're going to secrete HCl, right? You're going to secrete all the proper acid to then break down your food so that it doesn't end up, a dysbiosis in the small intestine and then a different type of dysbiosis in the large intestine. And so literally just, and like you say, that's the parasympathetic, right? That's the rest and recover.
Absolutely.
If you're eating in a stressful environment, well, guess what? You're going to end up with reflux and gas and burping and all sorts of
those
things.
would probably be the basic recommendations. Like if anyone's suffering from stuff like that, is to take the time to eat, chew well.
Start the process well.
Don't drink too much water too. Actually, that's an interesting one. Don't
while you're eating.
While you're eating, right? Obviously hydration throughout the day is really important, but while you're eating, try not to drink too many fluids, but actually chew your food.
Let the stomach acid
work, right? So don't dilute the stomach acid. A little bit of water is okay.
Side note, one major thing, and I had a patient once that this was how we figured it out, is I kept seeing him at events, because our daughters played soccer together, and he would constantly have a bubbly in his hand, so carbonated water, and he suffered tremendously from indigestion. So carbonated water will render the stomach basic, right? So
too much,
so people drinking water is one thing for sure because you're flushing the acid. Drinking carbonated water is even worse while you're eating because it really lowers your acidity level a lot. So it's important to realize these things and make sure that your stomach's in the proper state to be able to digest things. So like we were saying last week, we were talking about apple cider vinegar. So maybe a bit of apple cider vinegar and water, just to
prime the
stimulate.
pump, right? That's so true. But before you do that, like we've always said this, like supplements are exactly that. They're supplemental to a healthy diet and a simple, basic lifestyle, right? So like you say, taking the time, sitting, chewing your food, breathing, smelling your food, talking slowly, talking to the people you're having lunch with, right? Or dinner with, are essential to your body, first of all, in just being in a safe setting to digest, rest and digest, and obviously, if depending on where you're at in the spectrum and how far or how long this dysfunction has been going on for, you might need fewer or more kind of corrections or more help, kind of figuring out where it stems from, what's it linked to. What it is you can do, what's the game plan going forward, but just know there's always something you can do, and sometimes it's not exactly what you think it might be, right? That's what seeing someone would be able to help you, work the the chicken and egg
Yeah.
that's usually associated with it, right? It's never just this. It's never are always a few things that are going on leading to how you end up in that dysfunctional state in the long run, right? So
So I guess
And why the more things you tackle in the opposite end is your best source of outcome too,
Yeah.
right? The more you, let's modify my diet a little bit. Let's get some treatment. Let's do these exercises. The
Yeah.
more you can incorporate
yeah,
the same thing, your outcomes will be probably faster and
And it-
more, with more longevity to them, more long lasting.
yeah, and it snowballs in the right direction
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
from there because you start to realize, it's everything's interconnected.
Yeah.
Everything is
Well,
plays into
we
the
do have
state I show up in.
so much more control than we think, So yeah, what we recommend is for sure, like be more aware, listen to yourself, trust yourself. Like if there's certain foods that are bothering you, that's number one. Make sure maybe so things like sugar and often dairy with people, often
Wheat,
These are
gluten.
things that potentially can be the higher markers of things that can bother you. And then like we said before, make sure you're breathing properly, taking time to actually control your breath, breathe through your nose. 2, hydrating, like we said, but not during meals.
Chewing your food.
Chewing your food, making sure you get up and move more. So you want
Postprandial walks is
Yeah.
actually a really unbelievable way of
digest better.
digesting.
Yeah.
You see, it helps with the motility of the gut, and obviously you don't go walk a marathon, but it's like
Yeah.
10-minute walks. After you've eaten, taken the time. Once you're ready, go for a nice walk, and it helps with blood sugar regulation, all sorts of things. Like the data is incredible on just short 10-minute walks postprandial.
Then if you see, that any issue like back pain or stuff like that is persisting, for sure there can be some mechanical things involved. So obviously, please, feel free to come and see one of us or someone at the clinic or consult someone in your area to take a closer look at it and give you some better advice on what you could do moving forward. And that way, at least you're moving in the right direction. So hopefully this helped you guys out a ton. We could talk about so many different aspects of this, so we'll probably talk about this topic again at some point. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and we look forward to talking to you guys in next week's episode. And we hope you have a great week.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.